Tell us, with The Power of the Dog, adapted from a novel from back in the 60s, was it ahead of its time? Why is now the right time to tell this story?
It's a great question. Yes, it was ahead of its time, and I think the thing is, at the time, a novel which has the sexuality that it embraces within the story was not something that was particularly palatable at the time, and I'm not giving any spoilers here, so I think the book was ahead of its time. It's an absolute masterpiece of fiction, but in the hands of Jane Campion, I hope it's a masterpiece of cinema too. It's a great tale, a psychological drama, for phenomenal characters, all of whom have secrets that they're having to hide. And the way they intermingle with one another unfolds into a very taut psychological drama.
And, you know, Jane Campion's first feature film in a while. Why was she the right director for this, and why do you think she's such a visionary director?
Well, I mean, to start with, she was the only director for this because she was the one who gave us the book and said she wanted to make it. There are other filmmakers who could have made it, but I think the reason why it's so perfect a piece of Jane material is that she's able to see the world a different way, and she was able to look at this alpha male at the centre of the story and see his vulnerability and his weakness, and to embrace that as part of the storytelling. But at the same time, she took the character of Rose, which is the part Kirsten Dunst plays, and made that into something very moving, very tragic, and very heartfelt. So there's the wonderful Jessie Plemons and the wonderful Cody Smith-McPhee in the film as well. But at its centre, she understood those two characters and the gameplay they had between them, unlike anyone else could have done.
And let's talk about the cast. Cody, Kirsten, all amazing, but in particular Benedict Cumberbatch. You wouldn't necessarily consider, think of him as a cowboy, but, he brings so much menace to the role, even whispers of an Oscar. So what was it like having this cast bring the story to life?
Well, I mean, Benedict fully embraced the role. When he got the part, he said he wanted to do whatever work it required. We sent him off to a ranch. He learnt to ride. He learnt to deal with the cattle. He learnt to play the banjo. He had to work on a convincing American accent for the film. So his commitment, which was really substantial, just shows what a dedicated actor he is. And I think actually when you see him in the film, it's possible to forget it's Benedict. So it's a real tour de force of acting.
And it's a Western, but there's so much more going on in the film in terms of themes. What do you think people are going to take away ultimately?
I think they're going to see the American West in a different light. I think it shows, we all think we know what a Western is. I think we all think we know what cowboys are. But when you get Jane Campion there, you suddenly see a whole different way of looking at the West and the lives of the people who lived within it.
And how does it feel to have the film here at London Film Festival? People are actually going to be able to see it on a big screen after the 18 months we've just had.
Well, it's so exciting to share it in cinemas, and it's really meaningful for me to be able to show it back here in London, and here particularly at this festival. I used to work here at the BFI. I ran the film funds, and it was there that I met Jane because I invested in her film Bright Star. So for me, it's a coming home, and I don't know if the others feel that way, but I think tonight will be the most important night for me.
All right, fantastic. Thanks so much for sharing all that. Enjoy the premiere.